Welcome to the podcast for and about Colorado Springs. I'm your host, Brittany Felix, and every Monday through Friday I'll be talking about a different aspect relating to the Springs, including upcoming events, restaurant reviews, local business spotlights, media coverage about the Springs, public works projects, local activities, answering your questions about the city, and much, much more. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any of the updates. And also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find links to all of those social media accounts at springspodcast.com/social media. The Colorado Springs podcast is proudly sponsored by Elevation Hydration. Elevation Hydration is the only hydration therapy clinic serving Colorado Springs, and they are dedicated to helping you elevate your life. They use intravenous vitamin therapy to help athletes needing a boost of energy or help recovering after a tough competition, people experiencing cold-like symptoms or dehydration from the flu, anyone needing to recover quickly from a rough night out. I'm looking at you, college kids. And just anyone wanting a healthy alternative to preventative care. They have a wide variety of hydration packages to help address whatever your needs are. They're conveniently located inside Lush Beauty Lounge at 812 Village Center Drive, and if you mention this podcast during your visit, you'll receive $10 off any hydration package. To learn more about Elevation Hydration or to schedule an appointment, visit springspodcast.com/hydrate. Welcome to episode 9 of the Colorado Springs podcast. It is Thursday, so that means it's time for another restaurant review. And today I'm going to be talking about my experience dining at Lau's Taco Shop. Lau's is located behind the Cornerstone Arts building near the Colorado College campus. And just to let you know, it's actually spelled LA''AU. So if you do some Googling, that's how you're going to spell it. And from the first sound of it, if you've never been there, it's called a taco shop, so you expect it to be Mexican. However, their slogan is inspired by Hawaii, made in Colorado. And I think that's a perfect slogan because it is tacos, it's burritos, but it's definitely with a Hawaiian twist, as evident by the name. And I will, of course, have links to their website and their menu, as well as their Instagram account in the show notes for this episode, and I'll give you the link at the end. But I want to mention that they do have happy hour every Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. It's bottled beer and margaritas, 2 for $5, which is amazing. And something else awesome that they do is they actually have Taco Thursdays as opposed to Taco Tuesdays like most other places. So on Thursdays, you can get $2 beef, chicken, or pork tacos. And that is every Thursday, all day. My husband and I did go, and to start off, I can say that we absolutely loved it. If I'm being completely honest, neither one of us are really all that adventurous when it comes to food. Neither one of us are what you consider foodies, where we just like to try a whole bunch of new things, and we experiment with all these flavors. That's just kind of not really who we are. We tend to have our fallbacks, our go-tos, our safety picks. But part of my goal in doing these restaurant reviews was to step out of my comfort zone and try these places that most likely we would have never gone to without this podcast. And Lau's is one of them. Hawaiian-style tacos is something that probably would have scared me off a little bit before, but I am so glad that we went because I did step out of my comfort zone a little bit and was greatly rewarded because the food was fantastic. My husband did go the safe route. He went with his fallback of getting a chicken quesadilla, which, let's be honest, is pretty hard to screw up. If you don't throw in a bunch of vegetables and there's enough meat in there, he's content. But he did say that this was one of his favorite quesadillas, specifically because of the type of salsa that came with it. He and I both got the ají de Peru, which is a mixture of jalapenos, cilantro, and lime, which is absolutely amazing. I love all of those things. And he felt that really just kind of brought the quesadilla to a whole new level. Actually, after we left, he made the comment that he wanted to go back and see if he could just buy a gallon jug of that salsa to have it at home with us. And I did the huli huli chicken, which is chicken that is peanut butter and miso marinated. And let me just say that they had me at peanut butter. The second I read that, I immediately stopped reading the menu and knew that I was going to have to try this. And what I loved about the chicken was that there was just a hint of sweetness. It was not overwhelming. The peanut butter wasn't overwhelming. The miso wasn't overwhelming. It was just kind of that good, subtle sweetness to add a little bit more to the flavor profile and really help balance out the ají de Peru salsa, because let me just tell you, that stuff is hot. My mouth was on fire. And I also want to follow that up with saying that I'm not exactly the best about spicy things. So if you really have a palate for spicy foods, you're probably going to be perfectly fine. If you're a complete wimp when it comes to spicy foods, maybe think about one of the other choices to top off your taco or burrito or salad. But the flavor of it, despite the heat, was actually really, really good. And if I had just had a little bit of sour cream on my tacos, it would have balanced it out and kind of taken a little bit of that edge off of the ají de Peru and would have been absolutely perfect. And one of the things that Brian and I both noticed was just the quality of the ingredients. I honestly am one of those weird people. I don't like bread, not usually. That also translates into not really liking tortillas all that much. But I have to say, I specifically noticed that the tortillas used on the tacos was very delicious. It was so good. The chicken was quality. And that honestly is one of the things that my husband said kind of brought up the level of his quesadilla, because it is a standard. It's available a lot of places. It's hard to screw up. But when you use quality ingredients, it really, really makes all the difference. And I actually noticed in the restaurant, they have a sign with a diagram of a pig, and it shows the different sections of the pig and the cuts of meat that come off of those sections. And the sign basically says, local pork, so delicious it'd be a shame to waste an ounce. And the owner of this restaurant, Blue Star Group, which apparently owns multiple restaurants here in town, they've actually broken down in this diagram of this pig what portion of meat they use in each of their various restaurants, which I thought was unique, obviously, but I loved that they were really utilizing every part of the animal and that it is locally sourced. That is a very important thing to me. And I always prefer to patronize establishments that do place an emphasis on locally sourced and quality ingredients. And another thing that I noticed inside the restaurant that I absolutely loved is that they actually ask their customers to sort their trash so that they can recycle as much as they can. And this is something that, unfortunately, almost no restaurant does, at least not publicly. And it honestly makes me want to go back to this restaurant more and more, specifically because I know that they do that. They are making sure that they are taking care of this wonderful, wonderful city by not contributing more trash to it. And I think that's fantastic. And they also have freshly chopped cilantro on their bar, which I am absolutely obsessed with. I swear I would have cilantro scented candles all over our apartment because I love the smell of cilantro and I put it on just about anything that I possibly can. So they kind of won me over with that. One last thing I want to mention is that they also have a fantastic, rather large deck area. So I know that we personally cannot wait to go back once it warms up and hang out outside, drink our margaritas and our beer, and have our fantastic tacos. So if you're looking for something a little bit unique, a little bit different, with a friendly staff, great food, quality local ingredients, and a company who actually cares about the environment, I highly recommend you check out Lau's Taco Shop. Again, the address and the website and the menu and their Instagram account will all be linked to in the show notes for this episode on my website. And you can find those at springspodcast.com/009. And those are the actual numbers 009. Speaking of Instagram, I would like to invite you to also follow the Colorado Springs podcast on there, where I post images for each of the episodes of this show, but I also share pictures from our own adventures around the town. There'll be a link to that in the show notes as well, but if not, if you're on Instagram, just search for Springs Podcast and you'll find us. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, and of course you can reach out to me through the contact page on my website if you ever have any questions or comments. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you back here tomorrow for a Friday Free-for-All episode.